Can we move to a little bit accessibility? And you refer Barbour as an example. Obviously it is, and the more examples as such, the more we can disseminate the knowledge about Portuguese gastronomy. But COVID certainly hasn't been a moment to do that, I believe. And most of us have been in lockdown, takeaway. We either cook at home, and unfortunately, we certainly don't cook as well as Vasco cooks, or at your restaurant. So the takeaways, how have you, and the COVID situation on the restaurant scene? I would have two questions. You see restaurants opening and closing. Some are very successful. Takeaways work very well. Some people have opened, closed, reopened. How has that come along with the two of you, the current situation? And we have a question from our one of the audience asking for a potential for an aspiring restaurant, or the financial backing. How does it work in the UK? Someone that wants to open a restaurant, perhaps a chef with some history, or some international history in Portugal, that decides to open a restaurant in the UK. How did that work for you, or what advice would the two of you, or would you give, for example, to Vasco, should he decide to come and open also in London?
Pedro, back to the question from the audience. Of course, you need to find people who are also passionate about Portugal in order to support these ventures. And I've been very fortunate to have an investor that does that and really loves Portugal and wants to celebrate its offering. During lockdown, we all had, everyone had an incredibly tough time, and the place that we first turned to was our wines. We had just opened Bar Douro City, which is, we opened this restaurant, Bar Douro City, at the end of January, just before lockdown. We had placed a lot of wine orders, so we were carrying a lot of stock. And the first thing that we did when lockdown happened was launch our bottle shop online. And the bottle shop, was really just an idea at this stage and a way of us liquidating some of our stock, but it's actually become something that we're really pursuing, because back to the accessibility point, we are able to distribute these wines across the UK. Next slide, you'll see a selection of these wines. This was our first Explorer box that we put together. And, again, in the same way that we are celebrating regional gastronomy, we're also really exploring Portugal's wine scene, the different regions, different grape varieties, different traditions. And, from the down on the left, Quinta de Carvalhais, to Mateus Nicolau de Almeida's Hermitage, which is a single parcel Rabigato, which is a white grape variety from the Douro, through to, Gis, a beautiful wine from a boutique producer, Luís Gomes, in the Bairrada, and Frei Gigante from the Azores, and Quinta de Grisha, which is our own family's wine, Grisha. And yeah, this was our first initiative. This was like, let's move into a direct consumer online space, and it's been an incredibly interesting journey. We also ventured into delivery. Again, delivery was a way to access our customers again at home, and that started by partnering with Deliveroo. We then moved on from Deliveroo to setting up food kits. And what was great about the food kits was we could suddenly access people from Cornwall to Manchester to Yorkshire. And that again was really fulfilling our aim to make Portuguese food more accessible.
Did you have to do special promotion, or the clients came naturally?
Well, we partnered with a platform called RestoKit, and they did a lot of our marketing, but I think there was such pent-up demand for people to try restaurant food at home. And so the food kits were you know, really, really, really important, and were a bit of a lifeline for us. I have to mention, you know, that our most recent venture, which was the wine club, and we've been so fortunate to work with Sarah Ahmed. And if you haven't come across Sarah, she is a fantastic wine writer specializing in Portugal. And you know, she was nicknamed by Vasco Croft from Afros, the godmother of Portuguese wine. And, you know, she has now titled herself as Bardur's wine guru. And Sarah is, you know, is doing the selection for us, for our wine club. And she's really bringing in, I mean, projects that I struggle to find when I'm in Portugal. So sometimes, you know, we're getting access to these wines that are straight off the press, and it's incredibly exciting to have that closeness to producers in Portugal. We can move on to Vasco, because I feel that you've also, you know, had similar issues and similar solutions. So it'd be great to hear a little bit about you know, what you did in COVID and how you stayed relevant.
So the first lockdown last year was a little bit more difficult, as we were a little bit lost about the financial supports that we were going to have. So I was a little bit like more lost on that. So we just I went through a group of people in Porto, and we just helped like people from hospitals and homeless people. So we did a good thing about 1 month and a half. We just grabbed like 11 restaurants, and every day we were one restaurant cooking for them, so we didn't have to mix different teams. On the second lockdown in Portugal happened in January, and there we had to cook something because it was more difficult about the economical part. So yeah, my restaurants were not so easy to make a takeaway, so I did a little bit of everything basically. On Euskalduna, we try on the beginning with the menus like ours, like tasty menus, to finish at home, and was very fun for like 3 or 4 weeks. People just grab it like a beautiful kit that we were doing, and finishing the menus. We did like 6 courses. So, but after people were just thinking that it was too difficult. So
can
we
you give an example
again.
Vasco, can you give an example of one of the courses?
Yeah.
For example,
for example, the John Dory that I showed. So I sent the fish, I sent the tempura part, I sent the sorda, the stock, the eggs. So people were having like a beautiful paper, and we were just giving the exact things to do. So that was a little bit pain for them. So in the photos that passed, like we did some pieces, because I can speak a little bit about, but I opened in a pop-up system bakery. That was something I wanted to open before the COVID, but then I just stopped a little bit because of the investment. But as my baker was already in Porto, we started in a pop-up on the back of one of my restaurants in Semia. So we started with sourdough pizzas, and that was amazing. We just sell it a lot during the weekends. And for example, in Euskalduna, when we changed the tasty menu, we went for boxes of seafood, and we sell it like a box for 100 euros for 2 people with 13 different types of seafood. That was very fun. That we stayed at for like almost 2 months. And in Semia, we did some of our dishes a little bit like in a tasting, like Max showed like in bags and all that. So like so we did different stuff, like 4 or 5 different things, because we didn't have any. It was not very clear of our restaurant as a concept to sell like takeaway. So we tried different things so people could buy many times possible to have different things. And as I was speaking about the things I'm going to open a fish store. So the thing of this box of seafood was to test a little bit and people enjoyed the difference of seafood that we can offer. So that those kids was cool. So we can show a little bit what we're going to do in this concept of peixaria. We're going to call it peixaria, and it will open in the end of May, and it will be like a modern butchery that offers like personalized service to our customers, and it will work like side by side with my both restaurants on terms of fish and seafood. So it will be cool. So during COVID, I had time to organize and to set like some marks that I want to do and to help to promote my restaurants. And well, that's it.
The boxes that you used are the food and boxes are organic, which this hasn't been spoken here, and it seems to be it's a big issue, of course. And nowadays, people are looking more and more green environment, sustainability, organic food. How is that with your clients? And perhaps Vasco, your food is already is an extension of what used to be traditional Portuguese food. You've adapted, modernized. How does that come in?
For example, in terms of the lockdown and the things that we had to do, like in aluminium, was more for people to just put it directly into the oven. We just abort the plastic. We try completely, or aluminium or paper into more like finishing stuff. It was easier to people have it at home. In terms of aluminium, was because they had to cook something on it. It was better not to change the bag. But it's something in my restaurants I'm very focused on sustainability. That's why I want to use a lot of the fish butchery. I want to make like a circle into my restaurants and to put fish into people's houses. So it will help me not to have any disperdice and
Waste.
And another thing I want to do waste. So sorry. Yes, thank you. And another thing I really want to abort is I had some people from Silo, that's a restaurant in London, that are living in Portugal, and they are helping me to create a system to have more less waste and to abort completely the plastic. So there are 2 things that this year we want to do, is to have less waste and use more as a compound with my suppliers, with my local suppliers, biodynamic suppliers. And the plastic, it's not going to be easy, but I will try definitely till the end of the year to abort completely. So those are my things that I wanted to do in the next 2 years in terms of sustainably and to promote a better world, I think, in this case.
Before we pass the floor or the mic to Max, Vasco, the clients you have, do you notice a big difference, or what difference do you notice between Portuguese clients and, let's say, foreigners or British clients that come to your restaurant in terms of the food they ask, and perhaps organic food, if that's also an issue for them?
In terms of organic, I think when they come to the restaurant, I try to come with this question to the table and so we can share for like 3 hours that they are there sitting with us, and we try to communicate a lot about this thing of biodynamic suppliers and try to. But in terms of what they look for us, or if they are going for the restaurant because of that, I don't think so. It's so much on them, but we try to have this communication during the dinner. But I think in Portugal, maybe the Portuguese clients are trying to see who is working with more, because of the COVID. It was a big theme here, that our suppliers from restaurants in Portugal, they just they had to adapt, and they were giving normally the products that they give to the restaurant, they were giving directly to the clients, the customers, people at home. So I think people were more into now of having better products, better organic ingredients. So I think people are more and more into that, definitely.
Thank you. Max, could you please?
Yeah, I mean, this is a hugely important topic and something that our industry is going to have to work on. And I think that starts by looking at our supply chain and making sure that we are diligent, do our due diligence with the suppliers we use. In terms of produce that we import from Portugal, we tend to just import those really specialist products that we need in order to deliver an authentic experience at our restaurant. But when it comes to fish and meat, you know, we buy locally, we buy British, and we you know, do our best to buy sustainably. But it's something, you know, from changing how we serve bottled water, we've moved to filtered water. It's something that is going to be a challenge for restaurants, but it's something that we need to be very, very vigilant of moving forward.
You've already spoken a little bit about the future, both of you, and your future plans. Sustainability, as you've said, is an issue for your clients. We have a few minutes left, and perhaps what can we expect in the near future once COVID will leave us and we can go back to our normal lives? In the restaurant sector, will we be seeing a comeback to normality? Will you be expecting more clients perhaps to make up for that 1 year that we couldn't go and taste your delicious food?
I mean, I think in London, I've already seen a bounce back. There's been such pent-up demand that people want to be out. Now, obviously, it's really important to create a safe space for these people to come and eat in, and that's going to be a priority moving forward. But I think there will certainly be challenges. One thing that's been in the papers a lot recently is the shortage of staff. A lot of people returned to European countries, returned home quite rightly. You know, they were homesick. They had been in London in a lockdown for a long time. And I think a large concern will be, are these people coming back so that we can get the restaurants back to be able to operate at full capacity? Because I think the demand is there. And I think the demand will come back quickly.
And Vasco, the future in Portugal, what do you expect? And perhaps a little bit on chefs, young chefs like yourself that are working on Portuguese cuisine, elaborating it. Will we be expecting more of the kind?
Well, in terms of COVID and tourism, I'm expecting that they come a little bit fast. My restaurants work very well with Portuguese customers, of course, and I'm very pleased. But as Max said in the beginning, like Porto and Portugal, we are all these kind of business are very supported by the tourism. So for me, it was awesome that this summer was already a little bit pushed, but
can we expect a generation? Can we expect a generation of new Portuguese chefs?
Yes, I think so, because like me and other chefs that my age are opening different customers are losing a little bit the afraid of opening and to just to deliver what they want to cook. I think it's easier nowadays to open something and to people be involved and to agree with this in the market. So I think nowadays it's completely much easier to open like a small place and just to cook whatever you want, and people just go there and try. So I think definitely there's a place for a young generation to assume and to come with different beautiful ideas, I think.
And to internationalize these beautiful new ideas, we expect as well here in
Yes.
London. To both of you, thank you very much. There's still a question that we've just received on Hulot, which is a question I also asked. What has happened to Hulot? Where is it, and where can we find those Hulots? Is it near the football stadiums that we should find the Hulots here in the UK?
So Hulot is definitely something that we will pursue, but maybe not right immediately. It's something that we tested out in March, and we got great feedback, and it's an offer, a different side of Portugal's offering to Bardouro that we really want to celebrate. As I mentioned before, you know, our first priority is to get both the Bardouro restaurants open, and you know, we are facing challenges finding the right people to do that. Our London Bridge site is overwhelmed with support, and on the 18th of May, we're reopening the City restaurant. So once those two are back up and running, then 100% Hulot will be fast behind. So watch the space.
We should call to reserve, as you will be fully booked, I assume.
I hope so.
Both of you. Thank you very much for the conversation. Thank you, Sandra, for the invitation. I'll pass the mic back to Sandra. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you to everyone. I mean, Max, Vasco, Pedro, Fernando, thank you so much for making such an interesting conversation. And I think that everyone is certainly eager to welcome back full indoor dining, as certainly we have here in the UK. I know that in the city we're desperately missing places to eat. So I'm sure that, Max, here in the city, you're going to find there'll be plenty of demand once you reopen. I want to thank you all. We are going to make this available on our YouTube channel. If you would like to receive more information about events we're going to be holding, and hopefully they'll be in person when we next speak, do sign up to our newsletter on our website. So that's at apsociety.co.uk. We'll send through the information by email, so you will have that. And if there is anything else, any other questions that you have, feel free to send them through, and we'll make sure that they're redirected accordingly. Well, thank you so much to everyone. And I think all that's left is for us to sign off, and hope we see each other in person very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.